And we are live. Hello, Inhumanoids.
Hey,
Nice to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Welcome to another Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly live. And I'm your host, of course, and my beautiful wife here, as always. She's the co-host.
Hello, everybody.
We don't have the blondes and booze tonight, so unfortunately, but hopefully they'll be back next week. And we got a great show lined up for you tonight. You're not going to want to miss this. And we got some good old boys going to talk to you about Dogman and Bigfoot and all them wood boogers, stuff like that. So you don't want to miss this. And we have something special coming up at the end of the show. So please stick around. We're going to have a little contest. And I'll be picking the winners next week on next week's live. So you want to stick around for that, baby? Do you have some prayers?
I do.
So prayer list.
Okay.
Right
okay, so guys, we want to say some prayers for D. Starrick, Zachary Stammons. His dad has stage 4 cancer. Mother Marlene, Grandma Sharon, and brother Josh. Rodney Adams' wife, Eric Ogle, Slade McQueen's friend, and his wife and newborn child. Holly Mangum has unspoken prayer request. Chuck and Melanie Lindsay. Beverly Boville, her family. Give me 1 second. Nadine Bush Smith and son Doug. Anna and Kevin Jones. Just a second. I'm not done. Randy Hutchins, Angie Napier, the children and family. Louise Shiflett, Lloyd Davis's sister. Catherine and Roger Gay. Ron Mullins. He said, I'm always needing prayers. Pray for me always. Prayer warriors.
Right.
That's what he said.
We all need that.
Denise Preston, Angelique Benham, John and Amy Long, Amy's mom, Patty, not doing well. Susie Robinson Jago, Della Woods Nolan, Bree Marshall and family, Elaine Lewis and family, Kristen Michael Tweedy and her family, Mike Milton, who is Sherry Griffey's nephew. He's doing better, but he still needs some prayers. Trey Hood, Sherry Griffey herself. She's having some heart issues, not bad, but she needs prayers. Sam Burton, Mark Staten, Cowboy 4572, his wife Cindy, Scott's Life's daughter Megan, Hawk, he's feeling better, but he could still use some prayers. Gina Cook, doing better, could still use prayers. Mark and Linda Maycheck, Linda's mom died last week, and still need to keep them in our prayers.
Please, yeah.
Mindy Masters' friend Eddie, still praying for him. Spilling tea with Spunky Sparky. She needs prayers, and they need prayers for their cat, Chloe and Nova. They're not doing too good since they've been home. So we're going to pray for those kittens, too. Vic and Vera Galati, Martin Groves, kind of been sick since they came home. We all came home from LBL.
Right, we both have. So just want to say, don't want to interrupt you, babe, but me and Martin, we take off into a coughing spell, y'all have to excuse us, okay? We're still not quite well, but right. We're getting there.
Brother Heck, Sonia, Heather Ann, she prays for Taiwan. Mason DeCabbage and family. Greg Ogle's mom and Greg Howe. So please pray for all of those people. Also, we'd like to just ask for one overall prayer for the cryptid community. Just everybody say a prayer for this community. We really, really need it at this time. So
definitely do. Pray for everyone. Everyone, please pray for everyone. The entire country. We have a hello, South Force 10 and Sugar Britches and everybody in the chat room. Nice to see you all. We have an eclipse coming up next week. So
I also really quick need to say happy birthday to our April birthdays. Julie Scherer, E. Rev, and Linda Maycheck. I don't have any other birthdays in April, so if you have a birthday in April, please send them to me on comments tonight. You don't have to put the year. Please don't put your year. Just the month and day is all I need. Okay, guys, I'd love to do a shout out to you.
Yes, thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so as I was saying, we have a eclipse coming up next week. It's kind of making me nervous. You know, I don't usually get nervous for things like this, but there's a lot of things associated with this eclipse that lead me to believe that, you know, nothing good's it doesn't signal anything good. But we don't want to get into a bunch of negativity. Just say a prayer for everyone, that the good Lord keeps us safe and healthy. And we're going to bring our first guest up now. It's our wolf brother and sister, our newest wolf brother and sister.
Ready?
Yep. Mark and his wife Becca. How you guys doing
Hi,
tonight?
guys.
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Good to see you all again.
Glad to have you guys.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Well, we're honored to have you here, brother, and we've been enjoying you guys' as country eggs. At least I have for a couple of weeks now. Just about got them all eaten. Latisha don't eat them, but I was raised up on those country eggs and really love them.
I was
You can tell the difference between them.
but I didn't eat the eggs.
Big difference. This is our first guest. We're going to have two guests tonight. Our second one, I'm calling on the phone right now.
You have to lay your phone up there.
I'll throw my phone right there.
Hang on. Just
In 1 second, please. Hello, brother.
Hello, brother. It's good to hear you tonight, man.
Good to hear you too.
Good to see Mr. and Miss Bruce tonight. It is very good to see them and everyone in the chat room tonight. I'm humbled to be here with you guys.
Well, we're humbled to have you, brother.
you need to tell everybody who that is, please.
That is Mr. Martin Groves. I just call him Bubba. He's a wolf brother, very close friend to me, and everyone loves Bubba. But thank you guys for being here. We just come back, all of us now. A couple of weeks ago, we just got back from the land between the lakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we had everybody there. We were there helping a friend finish up a documentary. I can't say much about that other than he got more than he ever dreamed that he would get. And we were there, me and Bubba and Daryl. We were visiting Ron Moorhead, Indy, as we call him. And we sure had some stuff happen. And I know Brother Mark and Sister Becca, they saw something in one of those line breaks. You want to tell us about that, Brother Mark?
Well, yeah. Now I hadn't went back and double check, but I'm going to do that as soon as I get up there this weekend. But me and Rebecca were riding around down towards the southern end of the LBL, and she just wanted to check out some cemeteries, and we turned off, went down this dirt road towards some cemeteries, and there's a big transmission line that comes through there, and I seen something move in that line. It's probably a couple 100 yards up, up in that transmission line. And I seen something move and just something standing, it might be a bush, but to me, it didn't really look like a bush. And then I got to thinking, the power companies ain't going to let no bushes or trees grow out in the middle of a transmission line like that.
Right.
And that's when I told Rebecca to get a couple of pictures of that, and stood there. We sit there for a good while, and it wouldn't move. And, of course we didn't move if it was something, but I am going to go back and double check this weekend to make sure what that was. And if it is a bush, I'll tell everybody it was a bush, but other people blew it up and looked at it, and they said it didn't look like a bush to them, but but she was feeling something when we went in there anyway. I know this is hard to believe for a lot of people, but she can feel these boogers when they're around, and she can almost pinpoint where they are. I used to thought she was pulling my leg on it. Then I found out she wasn't pulling my leg. She was about every time she hit the nail on the head. So
Yeah.
we were feeling stuff in there. It had a different feel in that area, no doubt about it. So, but when I do go back this weekend, and if it's not there, then I'll know something was there, and I'll go up there and look for tracks. And of course, I'll put it on my channel when I do, and show the pictures and all that stuff, and let people, make up their own mind what they think it was.
Right.
Kind of like I do with my stuff here. That I do. I just let people look at it and say, hey, it's up to your interpretation what it is, because it's hard to say on a lot of that stuff, but
It is. No, but you're right. They pretty much clear out everything in the line breaks in between. They don't leave any trees or big bushes like that. Usually
Right.
it's just grass. So yeah, you did show me that picture, and there is definitely something standing there. But what it is, I couldn't say. But other than it's something there. Hello, South Force 10 and Brother William. Good to see y'all. Sherry, Amy, Werewolf, Eloria. Look at all these fine people in the chat, honey.
I'm trying. I'm trying
Wow.
to keep up with chat tonight.
Right. I just
Make
want
sure everything's okay tonight.
to remind everybody if you are a subscriber, please check to make sure that you're still subscribed. They're taking about 10 subscribers a day, every day. So if you do want to subscribe, please make sure that you still are. If you like the content, like what we're doing, what we're trying to do, then tell your friends about us, share whatever you need to do to get some more people our way. And we have a family that's growing, a little community that's growing. Be sure and check everyone's channel out that we have on our channel recommendations list. And please support them as well, because we're all truthers. We're out here just trying to tell the truth. Brother Martin, you still there, Martin?
I am, and I am just I'm just super stoked when I got to hear from Mark and Miss Rebecca there, because I am fully 100% on board with his wife there, because I have the same thing. We're both intuitive that we can feel when these beasts or beings are close enough around us. We get that feeling, and you know, there's you will find people just like Miss Green that we know when these beasts are in the bush with us. Now, what I wanted to tell them and assure them that Sunday, this very weekend, my wife and I were in the very, very same area where they are located, and you can see directly north and south along that land break where the TVA guidelines are. And they have burned on one side, and on the other side they've not burned yet, but they're getting ready to. And to my best of my memory, there's absolutely zero bushes left anywhere. They've went through and they've cleaned everything out. And why this is important, not only did what we see, everything is clear through there. In November of last year, just to further back up what they're saying, we were in there, if you recall, we went in to do a movie with Small Town Monsters, and when we were in there, I went in a few days earlier just to find some structures that are right there directly where they're talking about on this line break. And this is the first time my wife was able to hear one of the screams and howls of what I know to be one of the beasts or dogmen in the area. So we know that there are dogmen exactly where Mark and his wife saw that this previous week.
Right. So what did Sheila think about that scream that Brother Darrell recorded?
What is so important about this scream, there's two things. One is location that we won't give, of course. But about 5 years ago, I received information from a retired policeman out of the city of Louisville. That's what directed us to that area. And so we knew we were in a hot zone because we've had contact right there before. So we all went in there that night, and not really because we weren't spending the night there, but we had contact there before. So when you got out to do your call, I really wasn't shocked to the content of what happened. You immediately, when you did your scream, you immediately got a forced response. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get all of them, but these screaming, they just lit up the entire area, man. They responded to you, and I've never heard such a death scream live like that. I mean, there's only one person that I know on this earth, and that's Barton Nunnelly, that can do that.
Oh.
And it was done perfectly. I know you're a humble man, but I'm just going to speak the truth. You did it perfectly, and those boogers, man, they responded right to you immediately.
Right. I should tell a quick story of what happened so everybody knows. We were riding around. It was you and me and Daryl and Indy. We were riding around, and we'd been riding around for a couple of hours. And I had to use the bathroom. So I asked Martin to pull in one of the empty campsites. So I got out and was taking care of my business. I thought, well, I'll just do a couple of alcohols, you know, a couple of BART alcohols. So I did those, and there was no response. And right before I was getting ready to get back into the car, I just walked around to Bubba's driver's side. I said, I think I'm going to do a death scream, Aztec death scream. And they're like, what? Aztec death scream. I said, yeah, it's Elijah and Gabby Henderson. They got a whistle called Aztec death whistle. And so it was loud and shrill, but it wasn't very, it didn't carry very far, right? It was kind of a hollow sound. So we did a video last year and put it up. And what most people don't know is the last 3 times in that video that you hear that death whistle, it's not really the whistle, it's me doing that sound. And so I said, well, I'm going to do this death scream. And, you know, brother, I was not expecting anything. Excuse me. I didn't have my phone out to record nothing or anything. And I did the scream and got the response immediately. And it sounded, I don't know, like a nightmare come to life. And I'm standing there talking to you, Bubba. Did everybody hear that? And y'all are like, yeah, what in the world? That's not a coyote. And so I did another scream. Now, I'm such a great YouTuber, right? I should have had my phone out and recording all this, but that's when Brother Daryl got his phone out from the back seat and started recording while we were waiting to see if I got a second response. So I did get the response. It came from a location a little further away. And I did the scream again and got another response from a different location, a little bit further away than that. So that's what happened there. It was totally spur of the moment. It's like, I've been doing this since 85, and that's the best evidence of inhumanoid existence that I've ever got. And the people that can listen to this and think that they're coyotes or screech owls, all I have to say is you reveal the fact that you're a city boy. And here's a novel little idea for all you critical thinkers out there who think that. Why don't you Google coyote howls and screech owl vocalizations? So just Google it. And if you find something that even resembles what we were able to get, just post it. And, you know, this year was no coyote. I was born and raised in the river bottoms. I've heard coyotes basically every night of my life. Never heard this sound before. So that was something special, and I'm hoping to do it again real soon, and this time be ready. Take a good microphone with me, and just be ready for anything that happens. I was totally not ready, as you know, Brother Martin. I was just stepped outside to use the bathroom when all this happened.
What is so incredible about this, and there's a couple of points. What is so incredible is that you have been dealing for a long time now with a gentleman that has a biologist and scientist out in the area of the LBL and other areas that he goes to. And he's such just a bona fide biologist, and he knows anything and everything that is supposed to be in those woods.
Yes, he does.
Not only did he verify to you that this is not one of the typical red wolves. We do have red wolves in the land between the lakes. Mm-hmm. We have black bears. We have the Tennessee or Kentucky mountain cougars.
Right.
This was not a coyote or any of these things. And I've directed others to your channel that have come back. And then we had one of the most incredible, who I call the godfather of Bigfoot, Ron Moorhead, who had never heard anything. And this is a gentleman that, you know, he experienced the Sierra sounds and has dealt with a lot of things in his life. Yes. And he was absolutely astonished to the sounds that these beasts were making. And now this is opinion only. It is my opinion that those were Bigfoot. These were not Dogman, that these were Bigfoot that were screaming back at us. I've heard the Dogman in LBL, and the Dogmen do not sound like that. I don't know what your feelings are, Barton, but
I feel the same. I feel the same, brother. I hadn't heard screams like that since I was 9 years old back in Spotsville, Kentucky. But we did hear screams that sounded like that. back then. Now, I've never heard a Dogman. I don't know what one sounds like. I would think it would involve some type of howl, right? This was a straight up scream. Like
it's an incredible howl that will make the hair stand completely up on the back of your neck. My wife Sheila had experienced it for the first time. I typically do not take my wife anywhere in the LBL, especially in the nighttime. And we were there a little bit too late in the afternoon in the dark that day, and we were scouting for some of the X structures that you and I and Daryl had discovered the year before.
Yes.
And when this thing screamed at us, it was relatively close to our vehicle we were driving in. And I knew immediately what it was. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to frighten her, but she jumped right into the vehicle immediately. It was time for me to get my wife out of there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you bring up the scientist. Now, this is a man that's been under either government or university funding for the last 40 years, and he spent almost every day documenting the plant and animal life in the Kentucky park systems. So this is a man that, if he says something, you can believe it's true, and he's going to be right. And we've walked, I met him, me and Latisha have met him. We walked a few creeks with him, spent some time with him, just a great human being. And when I sent him the recording, and he said, Barton, what you have here is something that I've never heard in my life, either inside the LBL or outside of it. I've never heard anything like this. It's definitely not a coyote or a wolf or anything like that, anything that we know. So it's definitely an unknown animal, and I knew that, I was sitting out there listening to this, and I knew it wasn't no human or animal that is known, right? Classified by science. So, but to have him verify that, to me, that was kind of monumental because it's the first scientifically verified evidence that there's any kind of unknown animals in the LBL. What do you think about that, Brother Mark and Becca?
Well, what I heard through y'all's videos sounded very familiar to some of the stuff we hear in Alabama. I mean,
yeah,
in different areas. And of course, down here we have sometimes what they call the T-Rex roars. I mean, it sounds like what you would be listening to on a dinosaur show, with a T-Rex screaming. Yeah. And, we've heard that. But what I heard didn't really sound like no fox or no coyotes or nothing. It sounded to me like a booger. And, that's what it sounded like to me.
I agree, brother. 100%.
Miss Dion Whispers Walker says she thinks it was rakes.
Rakes?
So she says, I think it was a rake.
I don't know, Miss Dion. I've never seen a rake or heard what one sounds like, but I have heard what Bigfoot sounds like, and I have seen Bigfoot several times, and this to me sounded like 3 different Bigfoot vocalizations from 3 different locations. Hello, Jenny Brown. Thank you for joining, Hun. It's nice to see you again. Thank you, Brother Hawk, for your donation. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Larry, hello, Brother Larry.
I will get me a pair of breeches.
Briar
breeches.
Yeah, he needs some briar breeches.
That's what he said.
Yeah, those briars, they're tough.
Hey, Barton, I have a question if it is all right to ask.
Sure.
If you would ask, and I hope that they can hear me because I'm hearing Mr. and Miss Green pretty well, but I wanted to ask Miss Green how she felt and when she's in different areas and she can feel that some of these beasts, these beings that we call them, how long has she been able to pick this up and what it kind of makes her feel like? Because I don't get to talk to too many people that have the same feelings that I do, and it's very unique, and so I'm really super stoked to meet and know them.
Good night, John.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Sister Becca?
Well, I have not been, I guess, a part of the Bigfoot community until I met Mark. So I guess that's the point where I realized that I could feel him. I've always camped and hiked and fished and all that stuff, but I never really thought about what else was in the woods. But when he told me, what do you think about me being a researcher? I was like, it's possible. All things are possible. And so, like I said, we were out and Bigfoot hunting and stuff, or researching, or whatever you want to call it. And I paid attention to these feelings, and it's like, it's hard to describe, but it's like ants crawling up your arms and stuff, without being ants. But for me, it's like, okay, so if it's on my left side at my elbow, that's, off that way. If it's on the right side, it's off that way. If it's like something's grabbed a hold to my chest, it's like, to me, I feel like that's them watching us and paying attention to what we are doing. Kind of like their security guard, basically. Just we've been noticed, in other words. So, and I mean, you can. I've never gotten too many bad feelings from them. I just can tell they're there and which direction and if they've moved. I have had the hair stand up on the back of my neck once when I was off with Mark up on Creepy Mountain. And I told him, I said, I feel like we need to get out of here. And he said, I think you're right. So we packed up and left. But it's just an interesting feeling. So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a really good answer, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to see you guys in person. But it is when you said that a lot of folks don't understand those feelings that certain ones of us have. It was hard for me to deal with, and I don't talk about it often. But mind speaking is something that does come with this. And if you haven't found this yet, you will, because for whatever reason, you've been chosen, or you have this gift to where that you can feel these, and some people call them different things, but you can feel these boogers in the woods. And I will predict that sooner or later you will begin to, if you haven't already, you'll also get the symptoms of mind speak.
Yeah, they have these Bigfoot creatures. They have powers and abilities way beyond what you think an animal could do, right? And the mind speak is one, brother. I've taken hundreds of reports of that, and they can disappear and appear at will. They can walk across snow or mud and not leave a footprint, or just leave one single footprint in the middle of the field. And they do exhibit some form of mind control. Taking report after report where they hear something, they're camping out in the woods, and they hear something approach. It sounds like it's walking on 2 feet, and they're scared to death. And then suddenly they lay down and go to sleep. They sleep like babies all night long. So that's not something, that's not a normal reaction. So anyway, we're going to tell you the truth, and you might not like it, but the mind speak is real. The cloaking is real. Everything that you've heard, maybe not everything, but everything that if you read it in my book, it's real, because I'm just here to spread the truth, and I'm not here to, pull anybody's leg or make money or anything like that. The platform here is really more of an educational tool for me, right? It's not, I have to say that it's entertainment based, but it's really not. It's more educational based. And we got people here tonight and almost every Wednesday night that can actually share their knowledge with the world and help their fellow man. And it's up to you to believe it or not. We're just going to put it out there, and you can take from it what you will, or leave it completely. It doesn't matter. So, Brother Mark, tell me about the booger situation down there in Alabama.
Well,
We got them.
Got them coming to the house pretty regular, which I live 2.5 miles from Creepy Mountain, which is a hunting club. It's a private timber company that owns the property, and we've had it since 1996. Of course, I hunted up there for years, off and on, back when you could just buy a permit to go hunting up there. And then, of course, I'm 12 miles from Codega National Forest, and that's almost 500,000 acres that stretches about 90 miles long, and plenty of boogers in there. And a lot of people have probably heard of Cheehaw Mountain, the highest point in Alabama. It sits right in the middle of it. And, runs up to the Georgia line. But I've been dealing with these on Creepy Mountain since 2007 when I found out they were there. And then later on, I started through some other people, started going to other people's properties and having people call me and talk to me, email me, and, started going to other properties, verifying if that's what was there. And a lot of times that's what was there. We'd find the tracks, or we'd go back at night and have, interactions with them and stuff like that. So Alabama has a lot of boogers. We don't get the, what you call, recognition, or I ain't gonna say recognition.
The noticing.
Yeah, a lot of people don't notice Alabama as much in the Bigfoot world, but it's a lot of
visibility.
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of boogers in this state, and from the top to the bottom, and there's a lot of researchers, and they stay kind of quiet. They don't get on YouTube. Some of them do have Facebook pages and stuff, but a lot of them kind of stay quiet what they're doing, and they'll talk to some of us, but some of them won't. But where I kind of stay in about a 30, 40 mile radius, and I mean that's all I can handle is them, going to different places, checking on stuff, and but there's a lot of them down here. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think they're everywhere, brother. I think these things are wherever humans are, right?
Right, and they live right up next to people.
Right up next to people. Now, if you can become invisible at will, invisible to the human eye, what restrictions do you have, right? Other than what you place on yourself. And that's why we get a lot of, I myself have got several reports of Bigfoot right here in the Henderson city proper eating out of dumpsters at night.
Yeah.
But, they can be walking down the side of the road and you never see them. So there really is no limit, restrictions on where they can go or where they can eat. If one can come right in town and start eating out of a dumpster, then it can go just about anywhere at once, I'd say. Thank you, Brother Larry, for that. And 2 shout-outs. Thank you so much. But
I've worked several.
Any experience with the cloaking aspect of these creatures?
There was one time when I was hunting up on Creepy Mountain, and I was walking through a holler, and of course I got that 6th sense, something was watching me. So I started kind of looking around, and I noticed what I thought one, for a minute, I couldn't really tell, but then I really noticed one was playing peekaboo with me from behind a tree, just like the first one I ever seen done the same way with me. And of course, I kind of started paying attention to him. He was probably, 50, 60 yards down through the woods from me. But what I did notice was he finally went behind the tree and just disappeared. I don't know if he crawled out of there or what he done. I really just don't know, but he just disappeared in thin air, what it seemed like to me. And I eased on down to that area, and I could not see nothing. I think there was one behind me, but I'm not 100% sure on that because I kept hearing something behind me. But when I would scan the woods real slow, I wouldn't never see anything. So I ended up easing on out of that holler, getting back up toward my truck. And this probably went on for maybe, less than a minute. It peeking out of the tree behind, looking at me. But it did just disappear, and I couldn't tell where it went. Of course, back then, I was thinking, it may have slipped down on the ground, and crawled off. But that area I was hunting was very clean in there. It was a very open set of woods. And so I really just don't know what happened with that one. But I've had other people tell me about the cloaking. Of course, we had a portal that was seen on the hunting club one time in a field.
Tell us about that. People are interested in that because I've got reports of that too. And one of them is from a man that we my family back in 1975. We trusted this man with our lives, so he's seen portals too. So tell us about the portal.
Well, we was
I'm gonna
having.
leave.
Okay.
I got stuff to do. I hate to do it, but I got to go, and this is a good point for me to exit.
All
Bye,
right,
y'all.
Sister Jessica.
See ya.
Have a good night. We love you.
Okay.
She's got to finish packing up for us. So, we were having a small outing. We had some more Bigfoot researchers come. We had one from Texas, had one from Florida, and then we had a couple other people. I believe they were from Georgia, and we decided to go over to a field where a lady in the hunting club had witnessed a booger come out and squat on the other end of the field and watch her in a shooting house. Of course, it got her terrified. She called her husband to come get her. Of course, she started hearing racket all behind her. So we knew this field had some activity to it. And plus, we'd heard calls from this area and tree knocks, and we'd found, X's and tree bows in that area. So that night, we decided to go to that field. And one of the ladies was very terrified, would not get out of the truck. So I stayed at the truck with her while 3 other people went out into the field. And they had got into the field, and they said it started off as a little bitty ball on the other side of the field, and it just started getting bigger and bigger. And it looked like water churning in it. If you know what I'm saying, it looked like just water, doing this, and it got up to pretty good size. And they said they could see a being come to the opening. It's like it seen them standing there, and it backed up, and this thing just shrunk just like it and disappeared. Well, they come out, and I could tell something had went on, because one of the ladies was just sick as she could be. She was throwing up, white as a sheet, the sweat pouring off of her. I mean, this lady was just in bad shape for a few minutes. My friend, the other researcher friend of mine that done Creepy Mountain with me, he was white as a sheet. And he told me, he said, Mark, I just witnessed something that I didn't think existed. And of course, the other lady was very shook up. We all left there and went back to where we were camping at. And of course, I was real concerned about the lady that was real sick, but she got better once we got back to camp. So that was the portal that was seen, but they said it had a bluish white look to it, and it looked just like water churning in it. And the being, they just said it had a human-looking form. They didn't really know what it was. They said it just had a human-looking appearance. And it's just like it stopped, stared at them, and then backed up, and that thing closed real quick. And we've been back over at that field multiple times, and it never has happened again. But now we've had the orbs come in on the field on us and float around.
Yeah.
And but that's the only time I know of a portal that I was close to it. I was 100 yards from it when it happened, but of course I didn't witness it. But these people that witnessed it, I trust what they were saying, and just how they acted when they came out. I knew something.
So you have portals, orbs, and Inhumanoids all there in the same spot. So I wonder how that's possible if they're not connected somehow. We're giving you a lot of truths here tonight, people. Please take note of what these gentlemen say. And you're right, Brother Mark. Alabama is really underrepresented in the lore and the research that's done on this subject, just like Kentucky was. And when I wrote my first book, Mysterious Kentucky, I was trying to find source material other than my own experiences, and it was very, very hard to do because no one had bothered to write much of this down. But I'm going to switch over back to Brother Martin. Now, Brother Martin, you and Brother Darrell, you had some experience with a portal too down there in Land Between the Lakes, correct?
Man, I haven't got over Mark's story yet because it is so good, and the incident that he just covered.
Yeah.
But yes, it goes hand in hand with what Mark is experiencing in his incident. We had an incident in, I believe it was October, November of 2022, that Daryl and I, we had been into that area that you have been to my campsite.
Yeah.
And Daryl and I had actually got surrounded in there. And I had spoken to 2 or 3 individuals in the last year and given them kind of an account. But you have to understand that when these creatures come in on you, they come in using direction. And they will use sun, the moon, north, south, east, and west. So we had already been surrounded in my campsite, and we made the decision that it might be to our best benefit to jump in our truck and to take off down the road. Well, we'd had enough for the day, and we felt like we'd just go get us something to eat, and that would probably be the most exciting thing we were going to have that day. When we turned onto a very lonesome, very derelict part of the park that is not really used for anything, it's just an old gravel road that has been allowed to get away from road travel. It's not a good road. And we're traveling at a very slow speed. When we saw, the first thing I saw was, keep in mind too, Barton, that I'm a tad bit colorblind, but I thought what I saw was a silverish gray mist come up out of a ditch line that we would later discover is an extremely deep ditch that is along the South Rushing Creek area. And the portal opened up to us, and this thing emerged, which was the largest creature I've ever seen. I've heard things in the woods that I depicted to be 10 foot or greater in height. This thing here was between 8 and 10 feet tall, and it came up out of the ground, out of this ditch line, and out of this portal, and walked behind our pickup truck. And just like Mark was describing too in his incident, where the lady had become so sick, as soon as we had contact with this huge Dogman that come out of the portal, the smell filled the cab of my pickup truck, and it was just a strong acid, strong, terrible chemical smell.
Yeah.
And my eyes almost closed. They were weeping from this noxious smell, and of course, we both got hit with something we don't understand. It's not anything that others have spoken about. Others have also shared these type of details, but we begun to get, our bodies were tingling, and it wasn't a paralysis, but it was affecting our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this portal opened up in an area that you wouldn't even expect a creature could come out of. Now, in hindsight, or going back to this area, we've discovered a deep ditch line that is about 12 to 14 foot from the roadway down to a monster-sized steel opening that is a pipe that runs underneath the road, because Russian Creek gets real deep. So, and we have been back. We've been back with a couple of different film crews to that area, and we have measured the height. And this beast that came out of the ground would have had to have been between 8 and 10 feet tall. So there's a portal incident, but that's not the only one. There's been portals all over the LBL. The LBL is just a phenomenal area, just like what Mark is describing, that Alabama is just lit up with these beasts. And the LBL it's just an incredible area.
Right. Someone needs to be documenting the things that's happening in Alabama to include in the literature on this subject. And someone asked earlier what a tree bow was. So a tree bow and a cereal bow are two different things and spelled differently. Tree bow is spelled B-O-U-G-H, right? Whereas a cereal bow is spelled B-O-W-L. A tree bow is typically the very first and largest fork in the tree where it branches off, right? That's the bow of a tree. We're all Southern boys. We might talk a little differently than everybody else, but if you have any questions about word meanings like that, just let me know. Because we do talk differently. And everybody says, "Oh, I love your accent, Bart." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't have an accent."
I think folks like Mark, Barton, and old Martin here, we talk normal. It's the other people
Right.
that
It's everybody else. Right. I agree with you, brother. So tell us about brother Mark. Tell us about the Dogman. Do you have any Dogman stories down there from Alabama?
There are a few. I worked one case last year, not 30 miles from here. In fact, it's in the town I work in. A guy contacted me. Bill White was my best mentor. That's who I was mentored by, was Mr. Bill White. I was working that case. A guy is right on the edge of the river. It was actually a pretty populated area, but it did have some pasture land and some woods and stuff like that around it. The guy was leaving for work early one morning. It just had been daylight for a few minutes, and he come down this road. He doesn't live there. He was over there staying with a friend. It was on a Sunday morning. He come down the road, and he said he got to this where the wood line met this pasture, and there's a big pine tree out in this pasture, maybe 50 yards from the county road. And he said he just happened to look out there, and he said he's just seen this wolf-looking thing standing on two legs looking at him. And he said he slowed down because he was trying to adjust his eyes, like, what am I seeing? Mm-hmm. And he pretty much come to a complete stop where he could look at it. And he said this thing just stood there on two legs looking at him. And he said it had the wolf-looking head, had the pointed ears. He said it was probably in the 6 or 7 foot range, tall. Said that it was a brownish looking color. He said pretty much uniform brown. He didn't see no other colors. From that distance, he said it was hard to tell. And then he said, then all of a sudden fear struck him. He said it's just like, he realized he was looking at something he shouldn't exist. And of course he took off. I went to that property. Of course I could not access the property because it was private, but I did ride them roads looking around and did try to talk to some other people. And of course it's hard to bring that subject up with people. I know probably in Kentucky they're the same way probably, but folks don't like to talk much. They unless they get to know you real well, then they'll start talking to you, or that you get their trust. But since then, I've been contacted by another guy that lives 1 mile away from where this happened. And right now, me and him currently are talking back and forth. I've went and visited the property. I haven't got to walk all of it, but he's been sending me a lot of pictures. He's seen some stuff. One of them he thinks had a dog head. He sent me a picture, and I tell you, the head does look like a dog head looking out from around a tree at him. And this is 1 mile from where this was worked. Now, out in the Codega National Forest, there's been some reports of them in the Codega National Forest area. And then up around where Coombo lives up in the Tennessee Valley on the Tennessee River, there's been a lot of reports up in that neck of the woods. In fact, Bettina, Miss Bettina, I can't think of her last name.
Betty Moss.
Yeah, there you go. He's been to her property, and Coombo said the whole time he was there, he just did not like the feeling while he was there. And they seen some stuff that he said he just didn't like. And he said there's some other reports up in there along that Tennessee River in North Alabama. Down in South Alabama, there's a lady, and I'm not going to speak her name. I seen her in chat a while ago, but she has seen some dog men down in that neck of the woods. In fact, got some very good pictures of a few of them. And so you just hear you don't hear probably like, Tennessee, Kentucky and areas in Alabama, but they are here. They are here. And I've seen some weird looking tracks before in the woods that did not look like booger tracks. They looked very different. Just, too big to be, a regular dog track or something. And, you could just tell that something wasn't right about it. But it's something that I'm trying to pay attention to more. I got another good friend that researches. Now he's told me a lot more about some more sightings in different places, and he's tried to go verify them, and he has found tracks and stuff. And there's been a few times when we were researching in different places, we would hear sometimes it's something that just sounded too big to be a coyote or anything. It was just it had the lung volume to really get out. And, but of course at that time, I didn't really know nothing about a dog man. And so I don't know if that was it or not, but it was in some places where there's a lot of booger reports from. And of course we were finding tracks and all kind of different things that, probably were big, boogers. Of course, we took a lot of pictures of all that stuff. We never did get into casting much. Got a few casting we've done. We've got one that's 3-toed, a casting. Not very big, about 9 inches long. And really don't know if it's a booger or what it is. It's a strange looking footprint. And there was only one in a creek bed. And it was just very strange looking.
That's it doesn't surprise me. Hello there, Wolf Brother Mark Maychek, Cryptidville. Good to see you. Good to see you, Moon at Noon, Pete's Frog, and Sister Anna. Hello, Nellie. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Brother Martin. Now, I know you've been getting a lot of reports of these dog men down there around the Dover, Bumpus Mills area. What do you think these things are coming out of the LBL onto the people of Tennessee, or do you think they live in Tennessee?
Well, that's a very
Just
good
like
question.
everywhere. Yeah.
It's always been inferred by some of the older researchers that, the dogmen on one end of LBL and the Bigfoot are on one end. But when I started investigating this in the fall of 1993, it took me a few months for me to get my shoes and my boots back on. Then I decided to start researching and investigating exactly what you asked of me then. What are these dogmen? Where are they at? And what's the difference, And I'd heard all the older folks tell me that, they don't correspond with each other. They don't travel with each other. But they do. They're all over the park. They're all over Kentucky and Tennessee. They do interact. And it is my strong contention. A word that policemen use a lot is either reasonable or probable. It's very probable, in my belief, that the Bigfoot commands the Dogman. Now, we had a very interesting thing that has occurred in 2022 and 2023 when Bumpus Mills lit up. And that area is in direct correlation in between Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and the LBL from the Tennessee and Kentucky side there at the state line. And what we're discovering through a couple contacts I've made through Fort Campbell, that these beasts are all over Fort Campbell.
Yeah.
And one of their areas that I should talk about, but one of their posts that they have where they have one of their choppers that can be in the air very fast is directly at Bumpus Mills. So you have these beasts are being seen on Fort Campbell military post. They're being seen all up and down the Cumberland Riverside of the Bumpus Mill area, coming in and out of these retirement. We just spoke with two different couples very recently and interviewed them that have Bigfoot and Dogman that are in their retirement community right alongside of Bumpus Mills on the Cumberland River. So yes, these things do live all around in that area, and there is a direct correlation between Fort Campbell, Bumpus Mills, and all the activities that we're having. You know, Bumpus Mills is right beside Bethlehem. You cross the river and you're basically coming right across, and in just a very short distance, you are in the area of Bethlehem and along the state route that comes out of the park. And so, yes to all your questions that you had. These things are all over Bumpus Mills.
Yeah, I believe that they live in every state myself. And, you know, I don't know. I know there's at least two types of dogmen, the evil spirits of the earth that can manifest as anything that they choose, and the type that are being created through genetic engineering. And you know yourself, brother, the only reason I'm down at LBL at all is to try to keep my word to one of my friends that's passed on. I'm not down there trying to get famous, or I don't have network TV crews with me every time I go. And if not for Brother Darrell, we wouldn't have any evidence of all of what happened to us, you know. So it's not like I'm down there trying to.
Service
he did.
That night, he was smart enough and Johnny on the spot intelligent enough to see that this needs to be recorded, and he whipped it out there real quick. Of course, that's due to his experience too. He's accustomed to trying to obtain some type of either physical or auditory evidence, and he's real good at that.
Yeah. He's just a great person too. Hello, Brother Heck. Hello, World Criminal 7. Missy, Holly, Smurfy. So many great people in the chat tonight. Thank you all for being here. So Darrell really saved the day. If not for him, it would just be another story, another strange story from the LBL with no evidence to back it up, like all the others, right? But in this case, we actually did get the first verified evidence of something unknown in the LBL. So next time we go down there, we're going to be better prepared, and I'm going to be ready. I did not know that the death screech was so effective. We did it last year, or it was a little bit over a year ago. We was down with Elijah. I don't know. We was at the trace somewhere.
I think so.
Yeah, we was on the trace, and nothing. We had nothing. Nothing responded to us or anything like that. But now that I know that it can actually work, I'll be down there and I'll be doing that more often. I'll be ready. And the next time, brother, I know I was in a hurry to get through the park to see if there was any other campers that might have heard me and just trying to mess with us, right, and scream back like I did. But there was none. So there was a couple. Yeah. Camper
Let me
close
throw
to
something at you here too, Barton. Ever since this has occurred, and I had already read quite a bit of stuff. I mean, I had read so much up on the death whistle, but just keep this with an open mind, everyone. I understand what the death whistle was for. I understand how they used it. I also understand it was used to inflict terror in their enemy when they attacked. I know all these things. I read everything you can come up with. But what if we flip that theory just a little bit further, that this was the way that the Aztecs and those in that area actually communicated with these beasts?
Yeah.
Just think about that for a moment.
Or maybe called them in. I don't know, but it seemed to me it was more like they were answering. It was like a locator beacon, right? The scream, because I did it once and one stream from a close direction. I did it again. It seemed like another one streamed from a little bit further distance, and I did it again. And the third one screamed, and they're all like, "Hey, we're all over here." So I think if we just stuck around there, we might have actually encountered one of those things. The next time we're going to stay there all night, and I'll be ready. And Gary, you say we
And I
can't
hope
be.
you make it home.
Yeah, Mr. Gary, you say we can't be prepared for these things. Yes, we can. I've been prepared for 2 years. All we need to do is see one of these things. So I'm ready.
Let me say something here, Barton, before
Sure.
it escapes my mind. Mr. Jeff Wallace, thank you for your post in there. I had already picked up on something else that you had written. But, Mr. Wallace, if you would and have the time, please contact me. I have a couple things I'd like to ask of you about the area, and maybe some things we could pass back and forth. But, Jeff Wallace, please contact me and Facebook or either through my Gmail.
Right. Yes, we're just trying to get the truth out here. So
Brother Heck, we said some prayers for you this at the beginning of the show, but hey, everybody, say some extra prayers for Brother Heck.
yes,
Said his nurse jacked up one of my veins last chemo, got it in. So,
Mm.
guys, really
sorry to
pray,
hear that.
really pray for him. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. Brother
was
Heck needs your
important.
prayers, and we're here to help our fellow man, and through prayer and also through sharing of knowledge. You know, a lot of people hear stories, and they're just that. They're stories. You don't know whether to believe them or not. But when it happens to you, it's not a story, it's a fact. So we're here telling the facts that's happened to us. And all we can do when we have these experiences is share what we know and be truthful. And that's how we help people, right? It doesn't matter how crazy the truth might sound to some, or how mundane it might sound to some. Whatever the truth is, that's what we want. And that's what we're offering you guys. I know a lot of people don't believe in this woo. That's what they call it now. That's such a pedantic little word, isn't it? It describes such a complex subject. But a lot of people don't believe in that. But I know from experience that it is true. I've had two experiences where these beings were cloaked, and I could not see them. And one time it was just 2 witnesses, me and my little brother. But the second time in broad daylight, there was 4 witnesses. So I know I wasn't dreaming or making anything up. So, but we're here to give you the truth. Ain't that right, Brother Mark?
Yes, it is.
Very much so, and for Mark, too.
Right? We all just want the truth out, and it doesn't really matter the consequences. And I say damn the torpedoes and give them the truth whether they want it or not. A lot of people want to keep it a mystery. They don't want these inhumanoid mysteries to be solved, right? Because it's so romantic to think that there's a giant monkey that's so smart and lucky that it can escape our classification. For every single day that goes by without scientific classification of these animals is further proof to me that they are not ordinary animals. They are not cryptids. And I know that's what a lot of people call them, but I'm trying to change that, because a cryptid is just a natural animal that's rumored to exist that has yet to be classified by science, right? These things like Bigfoot and Dogman and Mothman and Goatman, these are not natural animals at all. There are no half-human cryptids. And in my opinion, true cryptids are much more rare than inhumanoids. That's what I think.
James Lemon said he's seen 11 Bigfoots in Arkansas.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Were they all together, or did you see them at different times?
Sister. Lay down.
Yeah.
That's our purple dog too.
So what? So what are your two? So one at a time here, Brother Mark. Let's start with you. What do you think might be the origins of these inhumanoid creatures? Do you think that there's some type of supernatural being or demonic, or do you think that they're some type of evolutionary throwback? No matter how impossible that might sound, sounds impossible to me. But what do you think there, Brother Mark?
Wait, Mark, before you answer that, I'm sorry, one more time, I'm going to interrupt. Brother Hicks, you are absolutely welcome to put your GoFundMe in chat.
Yes.
And hopefully everybody will help you out. We'll do everything we can to help you.
We'll put it on our community page
Put it
too.
on our community page. So yes, go ahead and post the link to your GoFundMe. Sorry to interrupt again, guys. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Brother Mark. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
What do you think things are? It all boils down to what, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I look toward the Nephilim or the Rephilim. I guess that's how you would speak about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I kind of look. One reason, because growing up in a Christian home and being a believer in Christ and trying to live the best I can. And that's the only thing that really makes sense to me. Of course, when I first started out, I kind of was leaning towards something that just hadn't been discovered. But the first time I really realized these things were different to me was that, like I told you, when that one stood up behind the truck at night, and his eyes were doing like the Twilight Zone at me. You know, the black and white swirl.
Tell the audience about that, Brother Mark. That is a really weird, bizarre incident.
Right. Yeah, that particular night, me, my sister-in-law, and her boyfriend at the time, and my daughter, and another friend of mine, and then we had a couple more friends with us that we were doing a small, just going out, trying to do some calls. This is back when I done calls and stuff like that. And we'd been listening. I had a set of hunter ears, a very good set of hunter ears. And I was listening to something easing up toward the truck. You could tell that something was creeping. I mean, it would take a little step. And I'd been listening to this thing for a while. And I done got pretty nervous and had put my daughter in the truck. And I just had put her in the truck. And at the time, she wasn't about 8 or 9 years old. And I didn't want my kids to be scared of the woods, so I would carry them with me when I'd go do stuff sometimes. I had walked around the side of my truck, and back then, part of the hunting club was a cutover. The pines were probably in the 4-foot range at that time in this area where we was at. And I seen my other two buddies. They were sitting up on the hill. I seen them crank up their truck and their brake lights come on. And that's when I pointed and said, hey, there's our buddies. Well, about that time, this is when this thing stood up behind my truck. And, there was no time to think. I mean, this all happened so quick. But what I remember about him, or whatever, female or male, whatever it was the eyes looked like they were that big around, and they looked like silver, but inside them, I could see just like it was swirling. And to this day, I believe that thing was trying to put me in a trance or trying to put a spell on me. Now, I know a lot of people talk about infrasound. I think they're trying to put a spell on you. But of course, this all happened in 4 to 5, 6 seconds. I mean, it was that quick, and it took off running through the cutover. My other friends pulled up, and I told them what had happened. And we walked up into that cutover and found its tracks in a couple of spots. They were about 14, 15 inches long, and this thing was probably in the 8, 9 foot range when it stood up. I mean, my sister-in-law liked to kill me. She jumped on my back screaming when she seen it because she was standing right beside me, and she just went hysterical for a minute. And I finally got her, calmed down a minute. And of course, I was checking on my daughter. My daughter never seen nothing. She was just sitting in the front seat, and she.
That's funny. That's Elijah when he was with War Criminal 7 and Gabby. They both saw the beast cross the road, and poor Eli didn't see anything. It's just funny how some people see and others don't.
Right. But that's pretty much what happened with that. And that's when I started kind of going down the other path. And then, of course, when the portal thing popped up, the orbs, the flashes of light, the vibrations in the ground, their vocalizations being able to vibrate you when they hit you, just like something hit you in the chest. I said, there's more to these things than flesh and blood.
Right. Has to be. Flesh and blood theory only invites more questions, it doesn't provide any answers at all. What do you think, Brother Martin? What's your take on these inhumanoid creatures?
Oh man, I should just leave it and say Mark has my answer because and that would be the safe route for me to take. But Mark really does have the answer. But I have an extremely open mind, and I'm not going to get too deep in religion. But I come from a very strict Catholic, then Baptist background. So, we can quote Bible and verse. We all three can. I believe in Nephilim and the giants, the monsters of those days. We also have something going with whatever the scientists have been doing to either create things and to turn creatures loose.
Right.
We have the underworld of the bowels of Hades itself. So we have so many factors that go through this. But the greatest thing that we have, all of us, and the greatest tool that we have about this is keeping an open mind. I'm a student of Mark. I'm a student of Barton or Ron, Daryl, a slew of other people. We don't know what these things are, but we're all three and everyone else working for a common goal to learn what these things are. And we can only learn by listening to the witnesses and to the others' accounts. Now, LBL, you got two things happening down there. You've got the demons from Hades. We can go back to the sloping giants, to the shadows people, to Nephilim, and you and I have went at it with the thought of Cain. Now, I've got a couple of perspectives that I think of, and the way that you think too. But there's something about the Cain story, and it goes on. Other people that have seen these giants, these nasty looking creatures running around. But I think Mark said it best. Nephilim is a very good start.
Yeah. Well, that's an unpopular truth, but it is a truth.
Yeah.
Everything's biblical. It's like World Terminal 7 said a while back. And when you get into the LBL, a lot of people don't realize this, but it's a spiritual battle the whole time you're there, especially at night. So we have a lot of things going on there that I don't know. It's just the history and the bloodshed and the violence and the sadness of that place. It really just seems to permeate every part of it, especially at night. In the daytime, it's like paradise, but at nighttime, it's definitely not. It's the exact opposite of that.
Right.
So what do you plan on doing, Mark, when you get back down to LBL, brother?
Well,
Going to do some research? It's just going to be a fellowship type deal, or?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of both. It is going to be some fellowship, but it's also going to want to get out a little more. When we met with y'all up there a few weeks ago, me and Rebecca, went and looked at a lot of the campgrounds, went and rode some roads, but this time we want to look a little deeper when we go. Of course, we have a lot of other people there, so be doing a lot of fellowship, but we're going to, probably a few of us break off and go out some, and I want to go back, of course, to the transmission line and really check that area out. And because ever since I've seen that, it's been on my mind, so I've got to go back and try to debunk it now, or I wouldn't say debunk it, but I got to go back and see if that's what I saw. So, but we're looking forward. I'm sorry about the dog barking.
That's all right. Don't worry about it, brother. We have a dog here too, and I can't believe she's been so good this live stream. And usually every live stream, she's really needy, right? I don't know what's up.
Well, I had that other one a while ago wanting to be needy for a few minutes. I finally got her to go off for a few minutes. So.
We love our dog, though. I mean, it's the man's best friend. I don't know what we would do without Rosie, but she's She's 17 years old now, so her time is almost done, and it's hard to even think about the day that she does actually pass. But they're like, they're like their own family, a kid or something like that. And the only bad thing is to get away, you have to have a house sitter or a dog sitter or pay for a kennel, something like that. But we would not.
Can't count her.
Yeah, she can't be killed, but we would not. I don't know what we've done without Rosie in the last 15 years. She's been such a good dog. So really protective, and especially of my grandkids. She won't even let my grandkids' parents act like they're wrestling or anything like that. She's like, no, you don't touch kids around here. But the kids could walk up to her and poke her right in the eye, and she wouldn't so much as growl. That's how good a dog she is. But I know brother Martin has some cats that he feels the same way about, right, Brother Martin?
Man, Ninja will eat first before anybody. And see the wife take off and leave me, but me and Ninja, buddy, we're here for the real deal. And he likes Coca-Cola too, by the way.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a good cat right there.
Oh,
Good taste.
Oh, goodness.
So if anybody has any questions for any of these gentlemen, please either put them in all caps or use the super chat for their highlighted so we can see them. And we have, how long you been doing this, Brother Mark? Since 2007, you say?
yes. That's when I had my first sighting in 2007 down in Lowndes County, Alabama, which is close to Selma. And after I seen what I seen, even though I'd been a hunter, fisherman, used to trap, I coon hunted. I started coon hunting when I was 16 years old. So I've been in the woods at the nighttime a lot of nights. And I've heard weird things, smelt weird things. Dogs act funny, but never really thought about a booger. And I've heard stuff walking around in the woods at night, but, always thought it was something else. But 2007 was what I call when I came to reality, that there was something else in this world. And that explained, of course, I'd had some paranormal happen in younger times, and even have witnessed what we thought was a UFO several times, actually. But
Not surprised here.
Yeah, so but my curiosity got up. I went to really digging, looking, and I found that Alabama had a group in Alabama. Back then it was called the AlabamaBigfoot.com, and I met the late Mike Mullane, and the late Bill White, or Tal Banco as he's known in the Bigfoot world. And that's who I actually started giving my investigations to. They asked me and my buddy to start keeping in touch in our area, and they would send people to us. When somebody in our area had an encounter or sighting, if the people were willing to talk to us, they would contact us, and then we'd go from there. And then I would give the reports back to them, and they would put it on the website. And and Mr. Bill White wrote a book too. It's about Alabama. I ain't got it handy right now, but if people want to really read something about Alabama, that'd be a good book to, because I forgot how many reports he told me he had from Alabama. I think he was up 700 or 800. I mean, that many from the state of Alabama. And, but he only published so many in that book. But between him and Mike, there was a lot. So,
right. So you have basically 15 years of experience. I know Brother Martin has about 40, right, Martin?
My first experience was my rookie year in 1982.
Oh, okay.
I was a city patrol officer for Franklin, Kentucky. And one evening, somewhere around 1900 hours were our first calls. We had over 50 calls in one night of a big hairy, individual hairy man call it Bigfoot, some called it a monster that showed up on our doorsteps in Franklin, Kentucky. And it was direct correlation with people seeing a flying saucer or a UFO. And within an hour to hour and a half, I keep on understanding, we're 2 hours travel time from Fort Campbell.
Yeah.
And so my first Bigfoot investigation, 1982, Fort Campbell sends soldiers from their base into Franklin, Kentucky that night. We had animals killed, all different kinds of things happened. So that's what sparked my interest, my very first win. So we can go back to 1982, come forward until present day.
Right. So it's over 40 years for you, 15 for Brother Mark. And then my first encounter was in 1975. So that's almost 50 years for me. So together, we three have over 100 years of experience. And so we would know some things that other people might not know, right? I've had almost 50 years to think about this. I'm 57. In 2 more years, it'll be 50 years that I've had to think about things and learn from other experience, other people, and experience myself. So what I pay particular interest in and attention to is what are the things that happen to me, right? Because I know 100% they're all true and real, and no one can ever debunk anything that I've ever said. Thank you, Brother Troy. We love you too, man. Good to see you here. James Feggy, he has a question. Mark and Martin. You got them started? Mm-hmm. Let's just ask this one real quick. Have you ever felt shock waves hit your heart during these experiences, and not talking about the roars? Mark, let's start out with you, brother. Have you ever felt that?
I can't say I have. Most times it came with the vocals, but I have felt vibrations that would start at your feet and come up. And but now there wouldn't be no vocal with it. It'd just be a vibration start. And
right. What about you, Brother Martin?
Oh man, when Sister Latisha put that question up a few minutes ago, I read that and I'm like, oh wow, man, that is a great question from him. Since I was touched by some form of an animal that was, I'm not certain what exactly touched me in 1993, I began to receive mind speak and all different things. But I've been probed. We were probed. I was probed this last time that we were all in during the activity a couple weeks ago. I was probed in that cemetery pretty good. For a really good example was when we were all in Red Hollow, and when I got hit with some form of a shock wave or some type of energy wave that went through me, and I really believed I was having a heart attack. It knocked me to my knees. Of course, you know what it did to me. It got me extremely sick. But yes, I've been hit so many times where there's no noise, yet it probes right through the center of your body, and you feel like you're going to either have a heart attack or a stroke, loss of breath, and a lot of pain.
Yes, I remember that night well. You were really, really sick, and Brother Darrell had to take you down to the bathroom a couple of times. And
he begged me to go to the hospital, and I'm a stubborn man. If I'm gonna go 10 toes up, I'm gonna do it in the woods.
Right.
But he tried to get me to go to the hospital that night after I got probed that night, and it's an intense feeling that a few people I've spoken to have had it.
Right. You're like me, brother. I'll go to the hospital if I cut off my hand or something. Oh, yeah.
There's always duct tape, man.
Right. Well, if I can't duct tape it.
Hey, man, this is gorilla tape. Oh, man, this thing's anything.
So I would be dead right now. This is the honest truth. I would be dead right now if it wasn't for my wife, Latisha, because every time that I go to the hospital, it's because she makes me go. And I got this Lyme disease from a tick bite 15 years ago. And, I started getting sick. I almost never got sick. But then I started getting sick, really bad sick, like once every couple of months. And I was stuck to that bed, and like somebody poured a 5-gallon bucket of water on top of me. And she said, baby, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go to the hospital. I'm like, no, I'll be all right. So that's happened 4 or 5 times. And she finally got me to go to the doctor. And Because I don't trust them really, especially since you know what happened here lately. But back then I hadn't happened. I still didn't trust the doctors, but they finally, after three or four visits, baby.
Well, actually, what happened was you went to the hospital twice. They didn't find anything, and then we found out that we lived right across the street from a free clinic. Remember, I had you walk across the street to the free clinic, and they're the ones that found out that you had 4th stage, I think, Lyme's disease.
Yeah.
So a free clinic helped us,
Right,
where the
and
hospital wouldn't.
The doctor said, you know, I never even thought to check for Lyme disease, Bart, because in this area, it's almost unheard of. And you're actually only the 2nd case that I've ever heard of come out of this part of Kentucky. So that would have been the last thing we would have checked for. But Latisha had told him check for Lyme disease, and I'll be darned, that's what I had. And so, you know, if not for her, I'd probably be dead. Probably been dead for years, but I just don't trust doctors, and I don't know. It's
Found a good one now, though.
Yeah, we found a pretty good one.
You have
So
a good doctor now.
yeah, all the doctors want that you think are good, you know, and doing right by people, telling you to take this shot. You know what I mean? And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let's get back to the
I agree,
Inhumanoids.
Chris. I totally agree with you. Free clinics care about people. Hospitals and ERs mostly care about making money and prescribing drugs. You are correct.
100% correct, Brother Chris. Good to see you here tonight. Thanks for showing up. But yeah, you're right. And they care about the kickbacks that the drug pharmaceutical company will give them to prescribe their medication. So yeah, don't do doctors very well. So Brother Mark, what do you got happening down there in Alabama lately? I know you got some stuff standing up in your cornfield that was watching you. Anything lately? Brother Mark, can you hear me?
He's talking, but he's not coming through.
Okay, Martin, maybe you can answer that question. What have you been having happen lately? What kind of reports have you been getting lately?
I think Mark's trying to. I think Mark's trying to get her going there again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
He's trying to answer you.
There we go. I don't know what happened there.
Well,
Y'all hear
back, Brother Mark.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. There was something popped up on the screen, but
It lost connection with the mic.
That's weird.
Digital gremlins. Trust me, they love this channel.
I just put out a video today about something that happened up on the Creepy Mountain at the end of January. I did find a strange stick structure close to one of my game cameras. In fact, kind of in behind it. And of course, I was doing my video for my YouTube channel, and I was just talking, and I always do a prayer at the end of my YouTube. And one of the ladies that watches my YouTube a lot, and she has a lot of boogers and dogmen around her place and where she walks. And she sent me a message. She said, Mark, you might want to check your video. And so, and she gave me the timestamp to go look. And sure enough, there's a big black blob. You could see it moving in the woods down there below me.
Yeah.
And so I went back several times, filmed there again, just to make sure it wasn't a dark spot in those set of woods there. And I couldn't ever find nothing. So I put that video out today, and you can definitely see something in there. And it kind of similar the same way with the corn patch. I never knew they were standing in the corn patch that day that I was videoing. And 2 or 3 people who watched the YouTube channel was the ones that caught it and sent me the timestamps. And of course, I went back and watched it in slow motion. And sure enough, there was stuff peeping at me, from the corn patch. And there was one big one in there. He has to be 10 foot because that corn was 12 foot tall, and he was right up in there with it.
Wow.
And but it's been very quiet around the house here for the last, few months, babe? probably been pretty quiet here last few months here at the
We're out
house.
there now watching what we're doing with the camper, but
Yeah. Rebecca said there's one out there now, so
Oh no. I was going to say, well, I hope it stays quiet and they don't bother you. What about you, Brother Martin? What's going on with you here lately? It's been so long since we talked, you know.
The last 3 months have been just a blur, man. We've had activity from everywhere, from Cheatham County, down here in the neighbor county next to us, all the way through LBL, without violating any agreements or anything that none of us are under. We've had everything happen in LBL, and Mark and his wife are definitely in one of the greatest areas that there can be in LBL there along the Bethlehem area. And but everything from bluff charges to creatures, demons, and you name it. It's just LBL has come to life this spring. I'd have to say one of the greatest things we did not brought out that occurred between me, you, and Daryl is we had the creature run up the tree, and everyone has lit up your chat box on one of your last videos where we were in one of our secret places that we all three go to. And so after you had screamed and we had made some different calls, we could hear this DC-9 bulldozer coming through the woods. And about 100 yards out from us in total jet blackness, we had something hit the tree. And all I saw was a cloaked style of beast go up that tree. But your chat line is lit up where people have seen it looking around the tree at us.
Yeah.
I saw something looking at us about 50 to 70 foot up that huge tree, and we have been back since then and have found some claw marks on this very tree, which was last Sunday. But, oh man, LBL is just lit up, and that was just one of the smaller things that we've had happen. And so much that will come to light, though, in the next few months.
Yes, all we can say, and I'm just going to say this, we've had two famous world travelers that have been looking for Bigfoot for a long time, and they had to come to Kentucky, the land between the lakes, to get their actually first evidence or encounter with Bigfoot. So it's all going to come out later on in the year, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be amazed. I don't know.
The physical audio and just the recorded evidence is going to be amazing. But what is truly amazing is we have world travelers that have been from the Himalayas to South America, all points in between, and they come down to land between the lakes. And I won't quote them, but they were totally amazed to what was shown to them. And I wear this hat, and you do too. You wear it proudly. What two old hillbillies from Kentucky have been seeing and knowing that's in LBL. They come down here, and we show them something that no other place in the world has ever shown them.
Right.
And I'm saying that respectfully. I'm very proud to be a Kentucky hillbilly, and I know you are too.
Sure.
Or a hillbilly from Alabama or from Mississippi or wherever. You know, we have brothers and sisters all over the place.
Texas.
We know what we know, and we've seen what we have seen.
Right. You're exactly right, brother. You know, people might think of us as hillbillies, but really it's that used to be something to be proud of, because the hillbillies are with the backbone of America, right? When people needed, when America needed fighters, men of bravery and courage, it was always the men from Kentucky and Tennessee and Texas that went and volunteered to fight. And so, but now it's kind of, people look at it as a derogatory term. But you're right, I am proud of where I'm from, and just like I'm sure Brother Mark is. And,
amen.
We're all, the funny thing is we're all basically the same, even though we might be from different places and look differently. We're all basically the same inside, right? We just want to tell the truth and we don't care about anything else. And that's what we're doing. I know it's what Brother Mark's doing, what you're doing, and can't wait to get back down to the LBL and see what else we can, what other evidence we can come up with. It's going to be great. So, is there any other questions for these gentlemen, baby?
Well, I've got 29 starred, but I don't know how many of them we've already answered.
Well, let's
I'm used to having a little bit of help with these questions. So thank you to my mods.
Smooth.
Thank you guys so much. All of my mods that are here tonight.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being here. And let me go back to the starred questions, and I will ask them when I come up on them. Hold on just 1 second.
Hello, Brother Shade.
William Baez, love you, Bart.
William Baez, yeah.
Congratulations on your grandson.
Yes, congratulations. I will be calling you soon, Brother William. We got to get over there. You don't live but 10 minutes from me, and I got to get over to that creek where you guys found that big footprint. And tell everybody about that. Yeah, it's going to be good. So expect me to call soon.
So this Clayton Blackwell says, I've never had a Dogman encounter, but I've had several Sasquatch encounters. So Clayton, if you'd like to reach out and share some of your encounters, just
Inhumanoid encounters at gmail.com. Anyone that has a story, a true story, and they want it shared with other people to help their fellow man, and Inhumanoid encounters at gmail.com. That's Inhumanoid, not humanoid. So send it in, and please include your phone number, because you can ask Brother Mark. The people that Brother Mark's one of the first people that sent me in any experience to read on my channel, and we got to talking, and we've been friends ever since, and we really found out that we're basically the same people, just from different parts of the country, right?
That's right.
But yeah, be sure to include your phone number.
And mods, put that in the chat for me if you would again, please.
Sherry Griffey, you're a Kentucky Hillbilly too, huh?
And she's still awake.
You sure are.
We're so glad you're awake. I'm gonna owe you $1. Barton, that sounded like Dogman. It's almost the same as the one that he seen on heard on Terror in the Woods episode.
Okay, I haven't seen that. I don't watch much TV. Who was that? JD Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch much TV, JD. I just don't have any time. So I wouldn't know what that sounds like, but to me, it sounded just like the creatures that were out in Spotsville in 1975, which were two different types of Inhumanoids, and I didn't find this out until 30 years later. But there was the classic, typical Bigfoot, which is a human monkey or gorilla mix, and there were another kind there that were more like the Dogman with no ears. So they just had a bushy hair on their heads and short muzzles, long fangs, and talons on their hands. So two different Inhumanoids inhabiting and working together in the same area at the same time. And I always kept my ears and eyes open for someone else who might have experienced this. You know, two different Inhumanoids in the same place at the same time. And only when I saw Brother Martin's account did I find someone else finally, after almost 50 years, that someone had a similar experience to my family. So yeah, I had to call Brother Martin, and we've been friends ever since. And he's like Brother Mark. They're Wolf brothers. They're a member of the Brotherhood of the Wolf, and that's something that means a lot to me. Might not to anybody else, but it means a lot to me. What we got, baby?
JD Smooth also says, have you ever heard of the Bigfoot Outlaws? They talk about Alabama.
Mark, you ever heard of the Bigfoot Outlaws?
Oh yeah, I knew some of them. Yeah,
I've never heard of them.
They
never heard of them, JD, but Mark has.
Yeah.
We've already answered Valley Parks. Excuse me. What's the tree bow question? Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people say bow, but you know.
Valley Park says, I know a YouTuber in Alabama that has a Dogman in her neighborhood. She records it when she goes out. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, tell her to contact
us.
Yes, definitely.
yeah, wish people would contact us more, because then we could document more about it. So.
Right, and I think, brother, people are beginning to realize it's totally different now than it was back in the 70s and 80s and even 90s. People are beginning to realize that it's okay now to come out with their story. Right, back then you stood a chance of losing everything you had. your wife, your job, even your life. In some cases, people have committed suicide because they were ridiculed so badly for saying, "Hey, I saw this 9-foot tall, hairy, ape-like creature," and that's the truth. But now times are different, and I think everybody says the veil is thinning, and that's probably true. But I also think that we're now's the time of revealing. People are starting to realize what's true and what's been a narrative for so long, and the narrative has been false. But a lot of things have been revealed, and we have a lot yet to go. Thank you, Amy. Good to see you tonight. Have a lot to be revealed yet, and it's an exciting time to be alive, but it's also a dangerous time, as the good book says. A perilous time. So,
Right. Okay.
Any more questions,
Yeah,
Ellen?
we've got some more questions. Barton, are you going to try to use frequency sounds like Lance Hightower uses when y'all go back to the LBL? Well, now I know Sherry Griffith's awake, so answer that question for me.
so I was just talking to Joe and Jesse Dole last week, and Jesse, little sister, she did the audio enhancements to that video of the creatures screaming back, and I said, Joe, seems to me that somebody could figure out the key that I streamed in the octave. It could be reproduced digitally and broadcast at a much louder decibel, right? So, we're going to look into that, and because I'll tell you what, I streamed 5 or 6 times that night before I stopped, and I really paid for it the next day. I couldn't hardly talk. My throat was really sore. I haven't screamed like that, and since I was back in the heavy metal band, I was back in the '80s. So, yeah, it's hard on a fella screaming like that. At least me. So, yeah, we're going to look into maybe reproducing this digitally with the same note and the same octave, and blast that out and see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, Gary Bonnell says, what else could the Bible revelations be talking about the beasts of the woods, fields?
It's actually the beasts of the earth, Gary. Much different than the beasts of the fields. Beasts of the field, you got cows and horses, and there's no, they're not really dangerous. The beasts of the earth would be dangerous to man and capable of killing man. And between the beasts of the earth and war and famine, 1/4 of the earth's population perishes. So I think that's the difference there. Okay, see, I believe the Nephilim and Chimeras. Let's get over here. What we got here, baby?
Now we're not
Fisher
acting up.
asked
Okay.
a question, I think.
Hold on, let's see. Did you move? How far did you
No,
move?
I didn't move. No, I didn't
Okay,
move it at all.
I gotta go all the way back. Hang on just 1 second, guys. I don't. Okay.
Rosie, now you be good over it, girl.
Have you heard the vocals the Bigfoot Outlaws captured
No,
at the LBL?
no, but
Okay.
I don't know. Have you heard those Mark or Martin Bigfoot Outlaws?
No, I have not heard of them. I want to say that I have read about them somewhere in one of the podcast shows that I've seen,
Right.
but I really have not.
I haven't heard it. Actually, come to think of it, I haven't heard anything that's been recorded in the LBL. I don't know, but I don't follow. I don't really follow other people. I'm so busy. I'm just too busy to follow anyone.
There was one
There was.
that came out 5 to 6 years ago,
Okay.
and that one ended up they had sent that in, and it did prove one thing, that we definitely have a healthy population of the red wolf that was introduced, and it was a wolf. It turned out that it was basically wildlife, but that's the only thing I've ever heard of.
You're about to read that.
Maybe I can find that and send it to my scientist buddy, and he can give us an official opinion of what that was. I'm sure he can do it. We're walking through the LBL, and he's telling me every plant and every animal by genus and species name, and I'm just like, just a regular country boy, and he's telling me the rocks that we're walking on and what geological age period they were formed. Like
The
this,
mushrooms, the tiny
all the
little
mushrooms,
mushrooms.
every flower, every plant and animal. in the Kentucky park systems. He's well familiar with
You want to
each
read?
of them.
You want to read this one? We need to move on.
Go ahead.
We're going to lose. Fisher's Spam. I believe they are Nephilim and Chimeras. Book of Giants and Enoch gives great descriptions of them and tells how they could be here after the flood.
Right. So, yeah, I agree with that. And if the powers that be had not removed a couple of these books that are considered apocryphal now, I don't think we'd be walking around in such confusion. The Book of Enoch pretty much explained everything that went on, but the problem with that is it explained too much. It told too much. And the God of this world does not want you to know what's in that book. Let's just put it that way. Let's move on, buddy.
Okay, Martin, did you have a paranormal experience before your encounter?
Yes, I've had several, and probably the most profound prior to that encounter. I came to Robertson County in the 1980s and sworn in as a deputy in 1986, 87. And I had to deal with several paranormal encounters that actually also ended up, I didn't know the definition at the time, but I had dealt with the Dogman while I was on duty at the sheriff's office. Didn't have a clue what it was, but it all dealt with the paranormal aspects of Adams, Tennessee, and one family that had been just paralyzed by the Bell Witch and the phenomena of the Bell Witch and the Dogman that had been seen almost every time that there was an encounter.
Wow. I know you talked about to me several times about your involvement with that property and something that you saw jump off the roof into the snow. And are you going to put that? Have you put that in your books yet, Brother Martin?
That will actually come out. I'm trying to get this book out by Halloween of this very year, and that will deal with a family in the city of Adams, Tennessee. The Bell Witch said in 1821 that she would disappear for a period of 6 or 7 years. She again appeared in 27 or 28 and claimed that she would reappear 100 years later. And in fact, she did appear again, and with a couple of different families. But after the Bell Witch reappeared in Robertson County 100 years later, we have the birth of a lady that she had to deal with, Kate, the entity.
Oh, you said her name, brother. Oh, my goodness, no.
Being with her. So, yeah, there you go. So that will come out in the Bell Witch book that will appear by October of this year.
Can't wait for that one. It's going to be good.
All right, let's see if I have any more. Somebody getting ready to ask something, I think.
Hey, let me hit you up with something here, Barton, that I saw a question that came up. And I think Mark kind of addressed it, but there's something in the LBL that will go back to this question. Have we ever seen a blackness or a rectangle or blotches in the LBL or different areas? What I am seeing around the werewolf family, the cemetery where we believe that could have possibly have been an entire family of werewolves that lived in Model, Tennessee. I have seen a rectangle that appears in the cemetery at night, and it will drift up from the ground and then go skyward, and this blackness will actually black out and dim not only the moon, if it's headed in the direction of the shadow of the moon, or this blackness will cover stars up as it exits up towards the forest and the height of the trees. So yes, I have encountered this blackness in a rectangle, and I have seen a different form of a triangle, kind of an oblong triangle that appears to be a blackness that travels through the woods.
Oh, yeah, wow. Well, that answers that question. Any more questions, baby?
There was 2 more little questions. Any exorcism experts been around? That y'all can talk about that, or we could save that one for the blondes and the booze.
Yeah, that would be blondes and booze territory right there. But it's all, like we said, it's all biblical, and it's the power of Jesus Christ that saves us from these things and rebukes these things when they come into our life. And we all struggle against the powers and principalities of this world. So.
And then there's another one. I'm not sure what that question is all about. Claire Ellis, you asked a question. I'm not sure what, do you know?
NP? No, I have no idea.
Not sure what that one's about. So if you want to ask that again, you can.
Right. Any donations are appreciated, Claire. We don't ask for them, but we sure can use them. You know, we still have a lot of equipment that we need to bring you guys the best. We need a thermal for sure when we're out there in those trees and we can't see anything. But you guys have already helped us so much, and we've come a long way, a lot farther than we thought we would because of all your help. And we sure appreciate that. Now, Brother Mark and Brother Martin, if there's no more questions, we're going to let y'all go. Y'all can stick around if you want to, though.
Stick around. Y'all might want to put your thoughts in on this question we're getting ready to ask everybody. So,
well, no, I don't have a question. I just want to show them something.
Well, we're going to show them something.
So I'm going to have a little contest. So everyone knows that a few live streams ago, I broke my spear, my beloved spear splinter. And I love that spear so much. So as soon as my brother saw that, he knew I'd be commissioning to do another one. So we actually got done with it today.
And we're not going to be able to show you the whole thing.
I can't show you the whole thing. It's like 5 foot. You see that spear right there? That is the new spear.
Show
and it's hand stitched there. He really does a good job making these things. And, hope you guys like that. This is a throwing spear. So what we're going to do is he also gave me this here as a gift. If y'all can see this here. He knows that I love knives like Martin. Look at that. Y'all see that?
Well, that's a pretty Bowie.
My new Bowie knife right there.
Oh, man.
Right? It's a beautiful, beautiful blade. And so what I thought I would do is let you guys, what we thought we'd do is let you guys name these. I name all my bladed weapons. So I'm going to let you guys pick the names for this knife and that spear. And how we're going to do it is, as soon as this video ends, I want you to put your comment when the video is posted to YouTube. Put your comment and tell me the name you think these should have. Now, I'm going to pick a winner next Wednesday night, and we're going to give something special to each winner. So I need a knife name that you think would be good for my new Bowie knife and a spear name that you think would work for my new spear. So I thought that would be a fun little thing to do, and let you guys actually name some of my weapons for me.
So where do you want them to send them? Because we can't.
So what they do it. No, when the video drops on YouTube, you just comment. That's all you have to do. Comment your suggestion, and we will be picking a name next week. And it's going to have to be a really good name now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't name my weapons Frank or Bill or anything like that. So you guys get to work on that here when this video ends, and we'll have a little fun with it. Brother Mark and Brother Martin, we sure appreciate you guys coming tonight. What an honor it is to have such down-to-earth, humble hillbillies as you guys. And, I'm a hillbilly too, so don't take that the wrong way. I'm proud of it. But you guys have a lot of knowledge, and you shared a lot of knowledge tonight. And I hope everyone in the chat and everyone who watches this in the future will appreciate the truth that was shared. And it's, that wasn't really popular. The truth isn't popular, but that the truth is what it is, and it can never be changed by belief or disbelief. Okay. So so now we need to thank everybody that's donated to us tonight. Betty, you go ahead and do that, please.
Sherry Griffey, thank you so much. Shade Viking,
thank you, Sister
member
Sherry.
for 5 months. Thank
Brother
you so
Shade,
much.
Glad to have you.
William, we love you too. And like I said, congratulations on your new grandson. Miss Tessa Marie, we love you. You have a new grandson too. Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
One second. No,
wait
Chris.
a minute. I'm sorry. That's mixed in with that one. Sorry.
Okay, my brother Chris, no. The power of my weapons comes from me and the Lord. It doesn't come from anyone else. So it doesn't matter what the name is. The weapons I have now were blessed by a priest. So these will be 2. So that's where the power of my weapons come from, not the name. Okay, go ahead, honey.
Sorry, Miss Tessa. You just said we were the most kind-hearted people.
Oh, thank you, Miss Tessa.
Sorry about that. I just misread.
Thank you so much.
Jenny
We
Brown,
appreciate
thank you
hon.
for becoming a new member. Hawk, we
Yes,
appreciate
welcome,
you so much.
Jenny.
I will get me some briar breeches with that.
We need some.
I definitely need some. And maybe a new stick. I don't know.
Right? Thank you so much, Hawk.
Larry Fisher,
thank you,
thank
brother
you so
Larry.
much. Jenny
Appreciate
Brown
your generosity.
again.
Jenny, thank you so much. What took you so long, hon? We
Oh,
met Jenny
goodness.
down at the conference, Josh Turner's Paranormal
Mhm.
Roundtable Conference. What a great time that was. Josh puts on such great conferences. We all had a great time.
Yes, we did. Two Shadows, thank you so much.
Thank you, Two Shadows.
Eve Air, thank you so much. And we'll try to keep up the great work. Jenny Brown, thank you again. You're such a sweetie.
Yes, you are. Tell your husband we said hello.
Yeah. Liberty 1776. Thank you, Liberty.
Thank you, brother.
Tripping up on you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
We surely do. Be talking to you soon.
James Fedke, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, James.
Claire, still not sure, said you want some money towards PNP. Not sure what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what PNP is over here. PNP.
That makes us a little nervous.
Right. So we don't know about that. We're from Kentucky, so we don't know what that is.
Okay. Thank you, James. And
Yeah.
we answered your question. Martin answered your question. Larry Fisher, thank you again.
Thank you again, brother.
Oh, you're so generous.
Amy, another one that
Amy,
we met at Josh Turner's conference. What a wonderful, wonderful
Yes.
person she is, and her husband.
She said Duluth fire hose pants are great for tearing through briars. Highly
Okay.
recommended. So I think
Excellent.
I'm going to get me a pair of
Thank you
pants.
so much, Amy.
Scott's Life, thank you so much for the memberships. We appreciate
Yes, we
you.
do.
Nancy Dobbins, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Nancy.
And I hope I got everybody.
We don't want to miss anybody, so
I
make
do not
sure.
want to miss anybody. So remember to put your names in the comment section for the spear and the knife. We will be picking somebody this week and letting you know next week who won.
Yes, and if we pick your name, we're going to send you something really, really nice.
Yes,
So,
we are. So we're gonna head on out the door now. And
Hey, Barton, can I say something real quick?
yes, you can, brother.
Barton, couple things. One, Mark Green, sir, I was honored to be on here with you. I'm a huge fan. My wife and I watch you guys, your channel. The second thing, you had a very special guest. All of your guests tonight in the chat was very special. But Barton,
Yes.
you had a man in here tonight, Codex connection from France. Virgil, hello. Cheers to you from America, all the way to your country in France.
Hello from Kentucky.
Barton, he
Like
has
I
a
said.
show that covers you and others from France. He is a great monster hunter from his country, and he really loves you, Barton. And so, hello, Virgil. Cheers to France.
Come on, ça va, Virgil. Yes, yes, that's French.
Sawdust Beast has them.
Thank
on.
you, Mr. Martin, for the kind words and everything. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Brother Mark and Brother Martin, we're honored to have such good, outstanding people on the show. And thank you both for coming here tonight. I know we all got to get up and go to work tomorrow, or we could sit here. And I would just love to sit here all night and talk to you guys. But it's been a great show. And
I have another question.
You have another
Hector
question?
asked if you'd read his story.
no, Hector, I have read your story. It's in my next video. I've still got to edit it and drop it on YouTube. But you're in the very next video, yes. And thank you for sending that in. We really appreciate it. Everyone that sends in emails, please include your phone number. And we're just overwhelmed now. It's like the floodgates have opened, and we went from 1 or 2 a month to like 15 or 20. So please be patient. If you sent me in your story, I will get to it. It just takes me a little while. I have no production crew. I haven't, it's just me and Latisha and a couple of cell phones. That's about it. So please be patient, but we'll get to you. Mark, thank you, brother, for being here. We love you, and Sister Becca. Thank you, Brother Martin, for being here. We love you guys, you and Sheila. Thanks to everyone that's in the chat and has come over to visit us. We hope you like what you've seen, and if you like what we're doing and we're trying to do, which is put out the truth, then please give us a like and share. And don't forget to put your comments, your name suggestions in the comment. of the YouTube video. So just remember, everybody, don't be scared. Be prepared. Jesus Christ is the answer. He's the way and the truth and the life. And no one can escape the truth. So remember that. Don't be scared about this eclipse. I know it's making me nervous a little too, but put your faith in God and we'll all come through okay. All right. So good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for being here.
God bless
everyone.
everyone. I love you all.
Love
God
you
bless
too.
y'all.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.